Hello, welcome to my video. I'm going to talk about prophylaxis. Prophylaxis is about preventing your opponent's plans. And by default, I think that people think about prophylaxis just as a defensive tool. Also, it's important to use prophylaxis as a tool to stop your opponent's counterplay. If you want to implement prophylaxis in your play, you need to ask yourself one question. What does my opponent want on the next move? If this position and the black is to move, he plays rook e8 last move. And now, as white, you should ask yourself, what does my opponent want? I'll give you a couple of seconds to think about this position. If you want, you can pause the video to think about this and to answer the question, what does black want? So in this position, black wants to take on d4 to use the fact that the e4 pawn will be attacked twice. If white is careless and plays rook c1, for example, not taking care of this e4 pawn, then black can capture, and on the next move he's going to capture on e4. And you see that this e4 pawn is quite weak. So once we answered this question, we can proceed to trying to stop losing this pawn on e4. First, we can allow black to capture on d4, but then we have to protect this pawn on e4. We can do that by playing queen c2, defending this pawn, and in case of e d4 we can do simply knight d4, and white is still slightly better here. The next option is to react in the center, to either block with d5. That seems like a very logical continuation. The next move that comes to mind here is to capture on e5. This is also a very solid move. It also solves the problem of the e4 pawn. And you saw how prophylactic thinking helped you to solve this problem. You just need to see a problem in your position. In this case, it was the e4 pawn, which was potentially attacked twice. And then you decide what to play. You could play queen c2, like I said, to defend the pawn for the second time, or you can just block the e-file, not allow black to open up the e-file. Also, what's very important to say is that prophylaxis is not entirely defensive. It's not always used in a defensive as a defensive tool. Sometimes you can use prophylaxis to stop your opponent's counterplay, not allow him to get more space, etc., etc. I will show you the next example trying to prove this. In this position, white was to move, and he blundered because he didn't see the response to his move. He wasn't being prophylactic enough. He didn't respond the right way. This position is a very good example of the wrong prophylactic move, which is very strange, playing the wrong prophylactic move. But I'm gonna explain to you very soon. Here, first, let's figure out what's black's plan for counterplay. He has less space. His pieces are quite cramped. Knight on d7 and bishop on e7 are not happy about their position, so they have to somehow break free. And one of the ways to increase space in your position is to make some pawn breaks. In this case, the ideal pawn break would be to go for c5, somehow open up the position and to make your pieces breed more. Because at the moment, knight from d7 cannot go anywhere, it cannot go to c5, and with the c5 break, it would be possible to make the pieces more alive. Black wanted to play c5, but white has a problem to deal with this, because if he plays b4, that stops c5, but black has this and takes on d4. How to stop this c5 break? If bishop b4, again, I think that bishop f3 is very, very efficient against this, because after bishop f3 you can take on d4, and on bishop e7 you can take on f3 first. And in case of bishop e7, queen e7, bishop f3, I think that this d4 pawn will be a big weakness now. Simply by something like rook d8, knight goes to f8, maybe to g6, and black will slowly target the d4 pawn. So what should white do here? In the game, white played knight f4, trying to anticipate c5 by capturing on d5, and now you can take on b5, take, and queen b5. Just be a pawn up, and that's how you anticipate this pawn break on c5. This was the whole focus of white in this position, just to stop c5 at any cost, not worrying about other tactical elements. For example, this bishop on d2 is defended only once by the knight on f3, and bishop is attacking this knight, making it not really stable on d2. And that's where black used this fact and he played bishop f3. And after bishop f3, knight c5 was a huge blow. And now white can choose either to give up the d4 pawn or to just give up the bishop pair. And later on, white lost a pawn and he was in big trouble, but he survived. So this was an example of the right idea to stop pawn break, like in this case, but overlooking other aspects of the position. Black's play doesn't consist of only one play, like c5. It has multiple layers and it's important to consider all of them, which white didn't do. If he played a move like bishop e3, he would solve all his problems with the bishop on d2, which would be loose. With bishop e3, he's stopping c5, and there is no loose piece. He's stopping all the counterplay, and black would be in a huge trouble in this case. That's a very nice example of prophylactic thinking. And also, what's very important for this is do not be over prophylactic, because if you do that, in general what's going to happen is that you're going to have one-sided play. Your opponent's going to have all the initiative, all the fun in the position, and you're just going to react to your opponent's moves, and that's usually not leading to a good position once you react to every single move. So try not to do that. Try to somehow cheat your way out of your opponent creating initiative and creating threats. Combine development with prophylaxis, or try to combine fixing position of your pieces with prophylaxis, trying to combine defending pieces and development, and so on and so on. Try to use things in multiple ways. Try to defend and somehow to prepare attack at the same time. For example, if your opponent threatens you to take a pawn, maybe you can attack his knight or attack his rook, get the initiative and make your opponent to be prophylactic. If you have any questions, please ask in the comment section. I will get back to you. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, just like, share, subscribe, whatever you like. I'll see you soon. Bye.